Hello friends, welcome to another session of video tutorial on API testing using SoapUI Ready API. This is part 5 of this series. Today we are going to look at properties. Please subscribe, like, comment and share the videos on this channel. To subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe link and hit on the bell icon so that you get the latest updates. So if you have any training inquiries, please contact me at techtrainerraj@gmail.com. Okay, so let us start with properties now. In Ready API, there are many properties available. One is global properties, the other one is project properties, speed properties, and test case properties. Let us look at global properties first. Okay, let us go to Ready API. In the last class, we have created this project and we have seen the calculator add request and a divide request, and we added assertions. We can set the global properties by going to preferences. So there is a preference here and there is a global properties here. So you can set the global properties here. For this demo, I'm going to use the web service which I created using .NET, which has got few operations in it. Okay, so this is like similar to our calculation web service. Okay, I'm going to run this web service. Okay, so right click, view in browser. As soon as I run this web service, it is going to ask me for sign in, provide credentials here. Okay, so these are the operations which I have created in this sample web service. One is addition of two numbers, and the other one is get time, and then print string. So these are some of the operations which is there in this particular web service. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use add, print string and get time. So these three operations I'm going to use it in my demo. So let us get to the service description, that is WSDL. So this is the one which we are going to use. Okay, copy the URL. So if you have any other web service, so you can make use of that. Okay, so go to Ready API. So I'm going to create a new functional test. I'm going to select API definition. I'm going to provide the URL which I just copied. Click on next. Okay, so here it is asking for authentication. I'm not going to give authentication here, so I'm going to cancel it. Okay, so it is going to create a new project. Click on next. Okay, I'm not going to have any assertion here, so I'm going to only have one assertion which is valid HTTP status code. Next, and I'm going to create a single test case. So earlier we have seen how to create multiple test cases. This time we are going to see single test case. Okay, click on select, click on finish. Okay, close this confirmation window. So now this has created one project, one test suite, and then one test case. Underneath that test case, I have few requests. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete SOAP request 1.2 version here. Okay, I'm going to select all of these and then I'm going to delete them. Right click, delete. Okay, so as I said earlier, I'm interested only in add request, get time request, and then print string. Okay, so I'm going to delete this first, all the others which are not needed. Right click, delete. Okay, so I'm going to delete hello world also. Okay, and I'm going to delete return all string request also. Okay, so that is my setup. So all I have is 3 requests. One is to add 2 numbers, the other one is to get the time, the other one is to print the string. Okay, so let us go to add request. Okay, I'm going to add 2 numbers here, so which is 2 and 5. Okay, and I'm going to click on send. Okay, so here I've got an error saying unauthorized because we haven't provided any authentication details for this particular request. To provide authentication details, you have to go to this authentication tab. Okay, so here, since it is NTLM, I'm going to select NTLM authentication, and I'm going to provide the username and then password here. Okay, so after providing this, I'm going to click on send again. Okay, after providing the authentication details, I got the response here, which is a valid response now. All the assertions are passed. So far, for all the requests, whatever we have done, we have been providing hard-coded values. So to avoid hard-coded values, so we can also provide them as properties. Okay, so first let us look at global properties. I go to preference and global properties and click on add. So what I'm going to do here is, okay, I'm going to have parameter name called num1, and the value I'm going to give it as okay 10. So this I'm going to call it as gnum1, so that we differentiate, that is global num1. Okay, so I'm going to add another one called gnum2, and I'm going to provide the value as 20. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. Now, since that is a global parameter, so that should be available across all projects. Okay, so let us see whether that is available here or not. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to delete these numbers, first number and second number, and I'm going to right click on this, click on get data. Okay, as you can see, under global properties I have 2 numbers here, so I can select one number, first number for the first one and second number for the second one. Again, right click, get data, select global parameters and num2, click on add. Since I have provided 10 and 20, I should be getting a response as 30 here. Okay, so let us run this and see. Yeah, okay, so it is taking those values from global parameters now. Okay, so this is the project which I created for assertion demo. So let me see whether I can use the same global parameters here also. So I'm going to remove these 2 values, click on get data. Okay, so num1, get data, again num2. Okay, click on send. I should be getting value 30 here. Okay, so which is correct. So as we have seen that the global parameters are available across the projects, available across projects for all speech and test cases. Okay, so let us look at project properties now. At project level also we can create the properties. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm using project 2, so under these there are two different properties. Okay, when I select project 2, there is project properties and there is a custom properties. So I can define values under custom properties. So if I go to custom properties, I can click on plus again. So here I'm going to call it as project num1. So here I'm going to give the value as, okay, so 15, and I'm going to add another one, p num2, and I'm going to add it as 25. Okay, after adding the two custom properties at the project level, so I can go and use them in one of the test cases. So earlier we have used the global properties. So instead of global properties, I'm going to use the project properties. So for that, again, right click on get data. Okay, under project properties you have pnum1 now. Okay, I'm going to add pnum1 and then pnum2, get data pnum2. Okay, so what did I add? Go back and remember, I've added 15 and 25. So this should give me a result of 40. Okay, let us run this and see. Okay, I got the result as 40. Okay, the same way. So now this project properties are related to only this project, and it can be used within any of these suites. So currently I have only one suite, but if you have multiple suites, all the custom properties which are defined inside the project can be used across multiple test suites under that particular project. So if I go back to project 1, I shouldn't be seeing those custom properties. For example, here if I see, I don't see them here. So there are no custom properties. So I cannot access the custom properties which are defined in project 2 and project 1. Okay. Okay, so we have seen these project properties. These are available to any suite and test cases for that particular project. Okay, so the same way we can also define suite properties. Okay, now we had defined at the project level, so I can also define at the suite level. So I have one suite here. I go to custom properties again, so I'm going to add, okay, suite 1 num1. Okay, so this time I'm going to give it as 20, and I'm going to add another one which is suite 1 num2. So I'm going to add value 30. So let us see how this can be used here. Okay, again delete these values. So far I've been showing you only with the form, so you can also do the same by going into XML file. So this is where we provide the value. So again, you right click on this, go to get data. So here I'm going to use suite num1, and here I'm going to use get data and suite num2. Okay, so let us click on send. Okay, we should be getting 50, which is correct. Okay, 20 plus 30, which is 50. Okay, so instead of providing it in form, you can also provide it in XML. Since this is at the suite level, Okay, all these test cases belonging to that particular suite can make use of those properties. The properties defined under suite will only be available to all the test cases under that suite only. So it won't be available for the other suites. Let us look at test case properties. So I can also define properties at the test case level. So here I'm going to add, so this is TC one num1, so that is test case 1, then num1. So here I'm going to add 50 to num1, and then I'm going to add another one, tc1 num2. So this is 60. Okay, so now let us go back and edit this value. So earlier it was taking it from test suite, now it should take it from the test case level. So again, right click, get data. Okay, as you can see, under test case properties I have two properties available now. I can select test case 1 num1 and then get data test case 1 num2. Okay, so you can see the syntax. Every time it is dollar followed by flower bracket, and then, so since this is belonging to test case, so it is test case, and then the value or the name of the particular parameter with hash symbol. Okay, so okay, click on send. I should be getting 110, so which I got. So this is at the test case level. So that means all the requests under that particular test case can make use of those properties. All the requests under that test case can make use of the properties defined under test case properties. Okay, so now if I create another one, so okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another request here. Okay, I'm going to create another suite. Okay, so this time I'm going to call it as test suite 2. Okay, underneath this test suite I'm going to add a test case. Okay, underneath that I'm going to add a step which is a SOAP request. Okay, which is of type add. I'm going to call it as add request. Okay, so I have added only one request here. Now since we haven't defined any properties under this test suite or this test case, so let us see whether I can make use of the properties which are defined in test suite. Okay, so if I look at this, Okay, if I look at this, I right click on this get data. So I have access to global properties, I have access to project properties, okay, but I don't have access to the other test suite properties or test case properties. Okay, from this it is very clear that under test suite, whatever is defined for one test suite is not available for other test suite within the same project. If we have defined parameters in one project, it is not available to the other projects. Okay, if you want to define parameters for all projects, then you have to make use of global parameters. Okay, so there is another way of creating a test case level properties. So I can right click on this test case, add step, and then I can create properties here. Okay, so here I can provide again test suite 2 tc1 num1. So here I'm going to provide, say for example, 45, and then test suite 2 test case 1 num2. So here I'm going to provide it as 55. Okay, so now for this particular add request, I can make use of the properties which are available in these properties at the test case level. Okay, again get data. So from properties, I can make use of, okay, at the test step level, which is add request, correct? For add request, I have properties available, so I can make use of these properties. Okay, again get data, properties which we have just created, go to num2, click on add, and click on send. Okay, since I have not provided any authentication here, so I'm going to provide again authentication here, which is I've provided authentication there. Click on send. I should be getting a response of 100 because I have provided 45 and 55 here. Okay, so this is how we can make use of properties. Okay, so this is how we can make use of properties. So at the same time, what you can do is you can also export these properties. So you can save this to a particular file, which is, for example, test.properties. Okay, as you can see, there are two properties stored along with its values. Clear this. Okay, so this is how you can load it from the properties file. That is the end of today's session. Please stand by for more videos on this channel. Thanks for watching.